My second guest for the morning will be calling in none other than Omar Tyree. And again, if you are one who loves novels, I can't imagine you not knowing Omar's name. Because like I said, it's rare that I ever walk into a Walmart or a Barnes & Noble or what used to be Borders and Books or any book retailer. And if you go into the novel section, you're going to find a book in there by Omar Tyree. Matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and start introducing Omar now so that when he calls, we can get right on to it. Omar Tyree is a New York Times best-selling author, journalist, lecturer, poet, screenwriter, songwriter, playwright, host, blogger, publishing consultant, and literacy advocate who has won a 2001 NAACP Image Award for Outstanding Literature and Fiction, a 2006 Phillis Wheatley Literary Award for Body of Work in Urban Fiction, a 2008 citation from the City Council of Philadelphia for the African American Children's Book Fair, and a 2010 HBCU Legends Award for his tiresome work in urban literacy. Born and raised in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, where he graduated from the prestigious Central High School in 1987, Tyree first attended the University of Pittsburgh as a pharmacy major and an aspiring football player. After spending his first 2 years at Pitt, he found his new passion and calling as a writer and storyteller, penning his first published series, The Diary of a Freshman, along with 2 novels, Colored on White Campus, now titled College Boy in his Urban Griot series, and Flyy Girl, which became a contemporary urban classic that spawned an entire genre of so-called urban street lit books. Tyree transferred to the respected HBCU, that's Historically Black College University of Howard University, to finish his education as a writer in the fall of 1989. Leaving the English department and School of Liberal Arts for the School of Communications, he graduated cum laude with a degree in print journalism in the fall of 1991. While at Howard, he created, produced, and published Food for Thought, a student opinion column in the Hilltop newspaper, along with publishing several Washington, D.C.-based news articles for the Black press. Upon graduation from Howard, Tyree established his own publishing company, MARS, or Mars Productions, in early 1992 at the tender age of 23. He then self-published and marketed his first 3 novels, including Capital City, which chronicled Washington, D.C.'s violent drug culture, and went on to sell 25,000 copies of his first 3 titles in mostly African-American bookstores, with distribution sources from Newport News, Virginia to Queens, New York. By spring of 1995, Tyree's publishing activity attracted the attention of several major publishing houses, including Simon & Schuster, where he signed his first 2-book publishing deal for a $250,000 advance at age 26. As they say, the rest is his story, as Tyree went on to publish 14 straight novels with Simon & Schuster. I told you, it's rare that you cannot see one of his books somewhere. He also published 2 short story books, including a children's book, 12 Brown Boys, that was picked up by Scholastic, and a nonfiction business book, The Equation on Entrepreneurship with John Wiley and Sons. The new novel, All Access, becomes Tyree's 28th published book, with more than 2.5 million copies sold worldwide, including 6 original ebooks, and co-authoring Mayor for Life, The Incredible Story of Marion Barry Jr. Tyree's books have created a worldwide brand name in the publishing industry that has generated more than $30 million. He has also been published in 5 anthology books and several major newspapers, including the Washington Post, the Philadelphia Inquirer, the News Journal, and the Charlotte Post, along with several national magazines, including Ebony, Essence, Upscale, Uptown, the Black Collegian, the Washington View. He has also been featured on national blog websites, the Huffington Post and the dailyvoice.com. Along with dozens of literacy awards for various national organizations, Tyree has founded and formed his own nonprofit arm of Urban Literacy Project, ULP, where he highlights the 5 key components of literacy: reading, writing, thinking, visualization, and application. He published 12 Brown Boy books for young urban readers in September of 2008 and continues his tireless community work in urban literacy. Hailed as one of the most passionate and informed speakers on the subjects of art, business, community, culture, education, and entertainment, Tyree has been a featured lecturer at more than 60 major American institutions, colleges, and universities, including Harvard, Yale, Michigan State, Texas A&M, and UCLA. Most recently, Omar Tyree's urban classic Flyy Girl trilogy novel series was optional for a feature film production by Code Black and Lionsgate Films starring Love and Basketball Sanaa Lathan. And on Tuesday, October 6, 2015, Tyree launched his new publishing imprint, OTI, Omar Tyree Incorporated, with the explosive release of his latest and most timely novel, All Access. We're going to be talking about that this morning. Also, as I said, Omar has broken into or is launching into the spoken word or rap or music, whatever you got. We're going to do that while he's on the air as well. So I've already read the bio and it is long and I'm all right with that. That's why I read the whole thing, because my hope is that it will inspire someone out there who's listening, that if will say to themselves, yo, if Omar can do it, I can do that too. And it will get some folks to get up off their duffs and get out there and say, you know what? If it can happen for Omar, it can happen for me. So I love to read the bios. And a lot of times they'll say, please don't read the whole thing. If it's a long one, no, don't read the whole thing. But I like to read the whole thing, especially if I have the time, to let folks know it's possible, that it can be done. So I've gotten that out the way. And when Omar calls in, we'll just go straight into our interview.
Hey, it's AJ from the Underground Forum here. Just want to let you know...
AJ, come downstairs and pick up your socks!
Ma, I'm on the radio! Sorry, guys. Where was I? AJ. I'm AJ. I just want to let you know that the Underground Forum...
AJ, where did you put your father's hemorrhoid cream? I saw you playing with it last night.
Ma, please, you're embarrassing me. Sorry, guys. I just want to let you know that every Wednesday from 9 to 11...
AJ, come downstairs right now and eat your meatloaf before it gets cold.
Dang it, Ma! Just listen to the Underground Forum Wednesdays from 9 to 11.
AJ!
Ma!
Want to expand your horizons? Want to broaden your mind? Well, listen to the only show of its kind. Listen to The Reading Circle.
We bring you what's going on in the world of reading, in the world of books. Sometimes the book may be from 20, 30 years ago, because the thing about books, they are timeless, particularly if there's a good message. And then there are times when we do books that are hot off the press, that were just released.
Listen to The Reading Circle every Saturday morning from 6 a.m.
The Reading Circle with your host, Marc Medley.
Only on WP 88.7 FM.
All right, listening audience, as promised, Omar Tyree is joining me this morning, and we're going to be talking about a host of things, and one of them is going to be his latest novel, All Access. We're going to be talking about his latest musical endeavor, and anything else that Omar would like to share with us, he is free to do that. I am thrilled and grateful that he's taken the time, because I read your bio already, and I read the whole thing because I wanted the listening audience to hear it all, with the hope that it would be an inspiration and motivation for them to do whatever their dream might be as well. Because certainly, as I read that, you have certainly followed your dream as you move from, I believe you started out in pharmacy, and then you moved into the English, and then into communications. You wanted to play football. Certainly you have followed your path. So I shared that with the listening audience. But welcome again to the Reading Circle microphone.
All right, thanks for having me on, man. It's bright and early on Saturday morning. I figure everybody be in bed from the parties from last night, but if they're up and bright and early, let's roll with it.
Well, yeah, they're up and bright now. I already actually, my cousin texted me because she said she wanted to call in and ask a question. I told her, go ahead and give us a call, but she texted to me. So a little bit later on in the broadcast, I'll ask you that question as well. But I tell you what, let's roll the tape back a little bit because, like I said, I shared your entire bio that's on your website with the listening audience. And kind of let's talk a little bit, and we're going to work our way up to All Access as well as your musical endeavors. Let's talk a little bit about, where did the whole shift, in other words, take place in terms of you going from a pharmacy major and aspiring football player to where you are today?
Well, if you go to YouTube, you guys can look at YouTube. I got a 15-minute interview that talks about my whole career and the website, so you get the gist of it. But basically, I've always been a storyteller. I'm the first of born of the next generation of my family, so I'm the chief. My mother was the oldest of 8. My father was the oldest of 4, and I became the oldest grandson. And so I was around aunts and uncles, all the time who were older than me. And so I got a whole lot of information that a kid typically doesn't get because of where I was born in the family. And I was born in a family where it wasn't nuclear. You had like the extended families all living together. So I was living with grandma and all those aunts and uncles. We had cousins in the house in Philadelphia, and they had all row houses. And you had cousins that lived around you. So, I mean, you basically lived with like 18 people. And then you came outside, and in Philadelphia, the houses are so close together. You come outside, it's like 100 people out there, you know what I mean, from the other houses. That's how tight it was. And I came up in the 70s, and so everybody was outside. We didn't have no computer games and stuff to be inside. It was all outside community. And so I was around stories all day long. And then my 2 uncles, well, actually my whole family, but my 2 main uncles, Monte and Andre, used to love going to the movies. And so they would get money from my mother to babysit me, but their babysitting was taking me to the movies, not sitting around the house. And so we would walk. It was a street in West Philadelphia called Lancaster Avenue in West Philly. And we would walk up Lancaster Avenue to 52nd Street and go to the Capitol Center, which is a movie theater for us, and watch triple features back then. That's what triple features were, kung fu movies, where they would give you 3 movies for the price of 1. And so I would go in there and watch basically 6 hours of movies straight with my uncles. And I would study the movie, man, and come out with the voices and all the kung fu moves and all that. So I was a storyteller for a long time, but it didn't really pop off until, high school and college, where I started to tell stories about all the things that we got involved in and then write it at the college level. And so, the pharmacy thing and football, I was always an athlete. We played sports religiously in Philadelphia. If you know anything about Philadelphia, we are crazy sports fans. And so I was an athlete, wanted to play football because that was the main sport I played. I ran track as well. And so when I went to Pittsburgh in 1987, of course, I had that dream of playing football like a whole lot of African-American males. We think of being athletes. Now people think of being rappers. But it wasn't any rappers really, everybody was thinking about being rappers in the 80s. You know what I mean? So I was still thinking football. And then I got to the college level and understood how difficult it was to become a professional athlete. And I was a radical thinker, radical speaker, radical, storyteller. And so I said, you know what, let me tell stories, write about the community, because I was already doing that. And people responded to it at the college level. And so that's where, it went from pharmacy, because my mother's a pharmacist. I was just doing, you can't have a major in football, so I had to major in something. So pharmacy was what I was used to from being around my mother. And then I moved to English because I thought that's what I would need to do as a writer. But English, we ended up studying a whole bunch of old classics and not our own stuff. And so I ended up moving into journalism, because that's where you're doing your own writing. With newspapers, magazines, essays, and that kind of thing. And then I made that transition from University of Pittsburgh to Howard University in Washington, D.C., and ended up finishing school at Howard with a journalism degree and a whole lot of math and science credits that I have from Pittsburgh. And so I'm just a well-rounded dude, very versatile, and I was always a hustler as well, selling different things in school, and then I ended up cutting hair. And so I was a barber, and then I ended up with a 40-hour job. I was always making money. And so you put all those things together, versatility, writing, hustling, making your own money. And I started my own business to get into the writing game. And that's all on my website, which you said. So, that's good that you did a lot of homework on that website because it is absolutely loaded. And again, you can hear this whole interview to really get a gist of why I set up the website and why I started doing what I do on YouTube, where, I have my whole 15-minute life story with music behind it. And so, yeah, that's all of me, OmarTyree.com.
Now, you said something earlier in terms of, particularly for African-American men, because you are in a field where there's not a whole lot of, there's some names, there's like Eric Jerome Dickey, there's yourself, there are a few more names that may pop out whenever you walk into the stores, but there's not a whole lot of us in the field. How did you, as an African-American male, and you kind of touched on it a little bit, how did you get into the writing and the reading, and was that something that was done in your home? Because I work in education, and one of the hardest things it is, and particularly in 2016, to get kids to do is read. Now, I don't know if it's the influence of technology or what it is, but I noticed in your bio, too, that you work with urban areas and with urban children, and some of your writings has actually been put or geared toward our urban area children. Talk a little bit about that.
Well, yeah, I think in fourth grade, I went to a Catholic school in Philadelphia called St. Therese, and at the end of school, they had reading class. Well, I wasn't a reader. I'm not going to sit here and say I was a typical black boy, had horrible grades in English and writing and stuff like that, but when I was forced to write, I was very good at it because, I had a logical storytelling mind. But I didn't like to do it on my own, if you didn't tell me to do it. That's in fourth grade. Now, at that same year, we had to have reading at the end of school. I didn't have anything to read. I had a friend in fourth grade named Albert Branch, and he used to bring comic books. And so, people won't believe me now, but I was kind of like a roughneck kind of bully kind of kid. So I said, Albert, give me one of them comic books to read, And so Albert gave me one of his comic books. And I said, hey, okay, the comic books are active, it's superheroes. I just came from the superhero movie yesterday, Batman versus Superman. And so that's something that guys will do because it's active. It's about, fighting and power and taking over the world and all this stuff. And so comic books, that ended up being the first thing I read. Then, my parents were strict on my grades because I was a smart dude. So when you're smart, your parents expect you to continue being smart.
That's right.
And so when I had good grades, whenever I got bad grades, they would put me on punishment. I'm talking about bad grades was a C. I get a C. I had friends, man, that if they had a whole report card of C's and B's, then that's what their parents expected. But since I was getting A's and B's all the time, mostly A's, if I got a C, my parents would put me on punishment. And so that's the difference in what your parents expect versus what parents don't expect. And so then when I'll be on punishment, I would buy a bunch of comic books because I couldn't leave my room. I couldn't watch TV. Wasn't no cell phones back then. And so I said, all right, I'm locked in my room. I do my homework, and then I read comic books. And so by the time I got to, my senior year of high school, man, I must have had like 400 or 500. Now, that's not all because of being on punishment. Once you start reading comic books and you get to episode 8 and you got 9, 10, and 11, of course you're going to keep reading them. And back then, they were only like 25 cents a pop, So I started going to comic book stores and what have you. And so I did read comic books and ended up with a whole stack of comic books that I saved in my closet. And so, yeah, I did read that. I wasn't reading books, but reading, period, is reading. And so then once I got to the college level, I went from comic books to reading, novels and historical books, etc. But I was very much in practice, Mark, so you did bring up a good thing there. I was very much in practice of reading. And so for people that have problems with their boys reading, get comic books, comedy books, anything that's reading, card books, computer game books, anything, because it's practice. And once they practice flipping pages and reading words over and over and over again, then it's not something that's alien to them. So make them read anything. That's what you have to do. I had to do the same thing with my youngest son. He didn't like a lot of reading. And so as soon as he liked something specific, my wife went out and bought every kind of that specific, book that he wanted because you have to get them reading. So what you got to do is find out what they like. I don't care what it is. Let them read that over and over again because it's practice of them flipping pages and sit with content and take it in through reading. And so, yeah, that's always a difficult task for boys, but you have to force them to do it, and I was pretty much forced to do it, and that's why I ended up becoming a reader.
Now, I noticed, again, in reading your bio, you hit a lot of benchmarks at an early age. Well, I mean, we're talking like, let's see. You started your own company, Mars, at 23. You signed on with Simon & Schuster at 26. How did you like make those? How did you become known? How did you make those connections, or what type of? Because I know you said you were a hustler, so obviously I know that had a little bit to do with it. But how did you get there? I mean, there are people out there that saying, "Wow, how did you move from like a college? You were writing in college to the next thing. You know, you start your own business, and then you were Simon & Schuster, and so forth. How did that happen?"
Well, I'm gonna tell you, I had a friend just recently. I think like last week we had a phone call about the business I'm doing right now. And my friend, he's a grown dude. We all grown men now. He called me a bully. He said, "Omar, you bully people in the business." And I'm sitting here thinking last night, Mark, about the admin of that. And he's right. It's like, if I want to do business, man, and you're scared of it, I'll push people into it. Come on, man, let's do this. Let's get me that. And so I've always been a person that's serious. I want to do it. And so even when I was young, if I needed to do something, I wanted to do it. I'm not playing. You know, so when I said I wanted to write books, I was serious. It didn't matter how young I was. Some people were clowning me and whatnot. Man, you don't write no books as a teenager. You don't write no books as you're 20. I said, watch me do this, man. And now I'm an Aries. You know, so my birthday is coming up next month. And that's another thing with Aries. You know, some people don't believe in the whole zodiac sign stuff. With Aries, we always want to be first. We always want to be champions. We always want to be out front. And so I'm used to that. I'm like, all right, John, I'm going to do it by my damn self. And so I've always been one to start stuff, finish stuff, do it myself, and other people are afraid of it. I don't have time to be afraid. I don't know how to be afraid. I jump right in and get it happen. And so that's what I did. As soon as I finished school, you know, a lot of kids weren't writing books and stuff, so I said, all right, they're not going to accept my work. I'm going to put it out myself. I had a degree in journalism. I knew how to edit content. I knew how to publish content and put it out. All I needed was the money. And so, again, I bugged people and begged parents and friends and family and associates money to put out my first book. And then I said, I'm going to pay you back. And sure enough, I paid them back. Then I put out my second book. And so, yeah, I've been a bully about it. Like, look, we're going to make this happen. And I've always been impatient. I got to make it. I'm not waiting around. Let's do this. So that's just my personality that forced me to get involved in stuff early, because I'm not going to wait for you. And if you don't want to do it, I'm going to do it by myself. And so that's why I ended up doing things so early, so young, without fear, because that's how I looked at life that seriously. I'm not waiting around for you. You know, even when I came out of college, you know, we get those degrees and we're waiting around to get hired by somebody. Look, if you have the money, you should do whatever skill you have that you graduated college to do. You should have that skill to do if you have money to open up your own trade. And so that's what I did, man. I'm not waiting around to be hired. I have these writing skills. I'm going to make it happen for myself. I just need the money. And I bully people into giving me money to make it happen. And here I am years later, and now I'm about to get involved in other things, and I'm bullying people again because so many people, as they say, scared money don't make nothing, and people are terrified. What if this don't work? That's crazy. I don't know. What if I don't get my money? Look, dude, if you sit there on your money, you got money and won't do it. That's why you're a 9-to-5 person, and you're never going to be the rich person that you expect to be or the known person that you want to be because you're scared. Go ahead and do it. You know, so that's where I am, man. I'm backing it now. I got investors that are hiding away from me now, scared to talk to me because they know I'm ready to do it again. But it's going to happen. That's just part of my personality.
Well, I tell you what, I told you I started getting text messages in terms of questions. One of the questions that came up was in terms of, and we're probably going to talk about this a little bit later, but one of the questions that came up was about Flyy Girl. And I think we talked about this a little bit last night because I saw in the bio where that's the book that was going to be made into a movie. But that's the question that came up. Was Flyy Girl ever made into a movie?
No, never. But there was some people that they go online and they make, you know, like trailers. And so somebody made a trailer of Flyy Girl, and somebody made a trailer of Sister Soldier's Coldest Winter Ever. And so sometimes the trailers could throw you off, like, what the heck is this? And what they do is take footage from people that they would like to be in movies that were in other stuff and slice it and put it together. I said, look at this. This is really unique. This is impressive. They sliced the stuff together and made credits and everything. But nah, it hasn't been done yet. It has been optioned by Cold Black, who were the black company behind Kevin Hart, who's another Philadelphian, another hustler. And then Kevin Hart, Cold Black, and then they linked up with Lionsgate, which everybody knows who Lionsgate is at this point. They really put Tyler Perry on the map with his opportunity. And so Cold Black, Lionsgate have optioned the book, and since 2013, and they're finally supposed to start putting the production together this summer. But that's something that I can't bully and I can't control, because that daggone Hollywood is way too expensive, and you're talking about millions of dollars and a whole lot of people working together. And so when I used to go out to Hollywood with my bully tactics, I got a bad name out there. Omar, I don't know who you think he is. Hollywood, as we already know, not even the great Will Smith could bully Hollywood. It's just a very hard business. And so that's why Will and Jada had to boycott it this year, not just because of that one movie, but because it's just so hard for black content to get out there. You know what I mean? They just continue to control it and to have doubts about what's going to work and what won't work for black people. And so, yeah, Flyy Girl is out there. We're hoping for that thing to get produced, but I don't have any control over that, and they don't let you control anything in Hollywood. You got to keep agitating and getting black people to put their money up, and that's the hardest one because, again, like I said, people that got scared money, black people that have money are terrified of putting it on the table for Hollywood. And so as much money as we think we have, we still can't put up 20 million, 30 million, 40, 50 million that these Hollywood movies put up, man. We just don't have that kind of capital or that type of bravery. Will Smith doesn't even put his own money on the table to do those films, So it's just what it is, So you got to wait and hustle your behind off with friendships and relationships to get those Hollywood movies made. But Flyy Girl is in the pipeline.
Well, I would think the same thing would hold true for Simon & Schuster. So how did you, because Simon & Schuster is a major publishing house. So how did you wind up with, or did they find you? Because I always remember this story from Michael Baisden in terms of when he first started selling his books out of his trunk. Nobody wanted to have anything to do with him. And then as soon as the book started selling, the publishing companies now came after him. And now he was able to kind of like thumb his nose up at them and say, well, forget it, I'll do it myself. Kind of like what you were saying. How did the whole Simon & Schuster thing come about? Because you were talking about, again, at 26, a $250,000 advance.
Well, we had a woman by the name of Terry McMillan. And Terry McMillan put out a first book called Mama in the late 1980s, which I didn't know about. I wasn't reading, contemporary novels at that point. I was still reading old school novels and historical books at the college level. But this book, Mama, came out, and a lot of the publishers didn't know what to do with it, how to promote it and market it. And so Terry McMillan started doing a bunch of her own letter writings to book clubs and libraries and doing a lot of events where, she was very discouraged that she would turn up to these events back in the, late 80s. Nobody would be there. And so she kept writing letters, and then she wrote her second book, Disappearing Acts. Now, from all the activity she did with Mama, Disappearing Acts picked up a little juice. Now I heard about this one. So I went out and bought Disappearing Acts when I was in college. So I read that book. I was like, yo, this is great. This is contemporary stuff, not ancient black slavery books, not books about the civil rights, but books about the 1980s. So I was like, wow, she's writing about the current. And this book picked up a lot of steam, people, because she did a lot of the work to call up people, to go to book events and do it outside of the publisher. She was doing this on her own. Then that third book hit, a book called Waiting to Exhale. And, oh, my Lord, that thing blew up, hit the New York Times bestsellers list, got on Oprah's, got all the white women reading it, crossed over. Now the white publishers were like, whoa, black people are reading contemporary work. Where's their authors? And so I just happened to come out. Now, that Waiting to Excel came out in 92. That was the same year that I put my first book out in October. Her book came out in, January. Mine came out, and I used to promote and market that way. Hey, I'm going to be the next big writer, man. Y'all reading Terry McMillan. I'm going to be that next guy. And so sure enough, it took a couple of years, but by the time I got to 1995, we had so many new writers coming out that publishers were now open to us. And so a lot of people end up getting book publishing deals because of Terry McMillan. And she kind of deflects a lot of that, but, yeah, she's the reason why a lot of us end up getting publishing deals because of the work that she did in the reading community with those first three books that she put out and the impact that Waiting to Exhale had on the commercial community. Not slavery books, not historical books, but present-day books that Terry blew open the market. And, of course, these publishers wanted to get paid like anybody else. It was just like, you know, the music guys, you know, the Universal Records, and when rap music started selling, they started snatching up everybody. So, yeah, it took a minute. But, yeah, once those books, publishers' doors started flying open, they started signing up everybody. And I happened to be the youngest. I was the baby of the bunch. And so I came in bright and early with my Flyy Girl book, and I had another book that was a third book, Capital City. And my first book was Colored on White Campus. And so I came in with 3 books. They wanted to redo Flyy Girl, and they wanted a new book. So it was a 2-book deal, and I ended up putting out A Do Right Man as the next book because we had a whole lot of stories about horrible relationships with black men. Right. And as a black man, I wanted to defend the brothers and say, we're not reading, we're not writing, but somebody has to defend us. And so all the brothers that don't read and don't write, they have me to thank to defend us in the bookstore because all the stories that we were in were horrible at that time. It was a whole bunch of women writing books about black man done me wrong and my black man. I was like, look, we got black men that's doing the right thing, but y'all don't tend to date them. Y'all want them thugs and them killers and they still doing that now. Even with the music,
right.
You know, which we're going to talk about in a minute. You know, it's all the thugs, hustlers, gamblers, criminals, and whatnot, and that's the sexiness that women want to date. But then when them dudes start selling drugs and going to jail, now you end up a single mom because this dude ain't getting married. He can't get married. He's dead or in jail. And so that turned out a whole lot of black families in these single mother households. And I wrote a book called Single Mom After a Do Right Man. And so that's how we got in. Terry McMillan blew open the doors, and then it became a business situation for a whole lot of white publishers who typically were not interested in black books or black people reading.
Yeah, I remember those books. As a matter of fact, Terry Woods also were True to the Game. All of you all came out around the same time. I guess they call it urban literature now, urban fiction.
Nah, you got to let me back that up. We did not come out at the same time. All those books came out after me. Terry Woods wrote me in Philadelphia and was very inspired. Shannon Holmes wrote me.
Right, Shannon Holmes, that's right.
Vicky Stringer. All those guys came out like 6 or 7 years after me. So that's not, get it twisted now. I was out way before that, and that's where people get it wrong. Even Sister Soldier had a book, No Disrespect, that came out in 95. That was after my book, but No Disrespect was like a autobiography. It wasn't like an urban classic book. She came out with The Coldest Winter Ever in 99. Right. Years after, Flyy Girl came out in 93, Capital City came out in 94. So I was way out before everybody. But people keep getting all the dates and stuff wrong. But yeah, you read that bio again and make sure my stuff came out in the early 90s. All that other stuff came out in the late 90s after they had been inspired by me. The only one that wasn't inspired by me was Sister Soldier. I think she would have written her book anyway. I just happened to beat her. Yeah.
You're right. Yeah, Terry's book was out in 1994. And so you were out prior to that. Matter of fact, so for the most part, you were the first male.
Okay, wait a minute. Are you talking about the what's the name of Terry Woods' book again?
True to the Game.
Nah, you got to check that date again. That thing came out, couldn't have been no earlier than 98.
Oh, okay. They may have the date wrong then online, but in any event, then you were the first, for the most part, for the first male in that area.
I was the first everything in that area. Here you talk about, again, Sister Soldier didn't have a book out till 95.
Right.
That True to the Game was not 98. So I was the first one, period, boy or girl.
See, and that blows me away because, again, you know the stereotype and the perception is that first off, African Americans, period, don't read. But then when you get down to African American men, certainly we don't read nor write. And yet you're telling me as we talk here that you, for the most part, blew the doors open in that area.
Here you go, though. I'm an exception, though. So I have friends that I played football. I'm just telling you. I have friends that I played football with. I ran track with. I hung the street. God, they have not read any of my books, and they brag about me. Hey, bro, that's my boy. We went to school. That's my homie. You come home and say, that's my boy. I ain't read none of his books yet, and I got 28 books now.
That's right. I saw that 28.
Real. You know, so it's like, don't get it twisted now. Don't use me as the marketing. I'm still abnormal for black guys. They still don't read. I got a bag. I read newspapers all the time now. I'm addicted to newspapers and news.
Right.
You know what I mean? Other people, they still ain't reading, brother. Don't get it twisted.
Well, I tell you what, the whole impetus of this show was to encourage people to read more, and I'm an educator, and that's a part of what I do as well. So I'm looking for anybody and anything.
Hopefully we can get them to dig up, what I'm doing now, and you know what I mean, the brothers that are listening,
Right.
go grab something, you know what I mean? But that's why you got to keep agitating and keep talking. That's why I'm getting involved with music now, because I see that, with the new people, all they do is listen to stuff
Right.
on headphones and watch stuff
Right.
on their cell phone. And so I got to infiltrate that thing, and music is the only way. Now, they can download books from their phones, too, but they have to know who you are first to
Right.
go over there. And so I got to use music to get my name in their head so they, Omar, the book writer, 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 and they can come over to the book and then read something. But if they don't know who I am, you can forget about it. They don't know who you are. They even search for you. And those phones, you have to be able to search what you're looking for.
Right. Well, like I was saying, right before I read your bio, I was saying it's rare that you walk into any major book retailer or Walmart or Target or whatever where they in the book section and your name doesn't pop up. I mean, one of your novels, I guess you have 28. And so one of your novels, if not all of them, are somewhere sprinkled on the shelf. And I always get a kick because when I walk in, I say, wow, I know Omar. We've talked on the telephone. This is our third time now.
Too. You got to keep ordering my books. That's why I'm getting involved in music again. I got to make my name bubble out because now it's a lot of books out there. And so if you're not asking for my books or ordering them, they won't have books on my shelf.
Wow.
I have books about everyone else. Yeah, if you're not being asked for, the bookstore's like, well, nobody asked for that. Why am I wasting my money buying it? And so, you got to make sure that people know your name to stay valid.
I know that's right. Well, I tell you what, we're in the 8 o'clock hour. I just need to transition over. I need to, at the top of the hour, let you know who you're listening to and share the weather with you. But if you just joined us, I hope you've been with us. I'm actually streaming on Facebook as well. There's about 3 or 4 people who are looking on Facebook also. My guest this morning is Omar Tyree. And whenever I come back from the weather, we're going to talk about his latest novel, All Access. And then we're going to talk about that musical venture that he was just talking about. So we're going to do that very quickly. And then we're going to move right on into All Access as well as the musical venture.
WPSC, Wayne, New Jersey. On the radio, 88.7 FM. Online, gobrave.org. A tune-in radio station. Part of the William Patterson Broadcast Network.
Broadcasting live from Hobart Hall in Wayne, New Jersey.
This is
The innovative.
I think they're really unique.
The fearless.
They have awesome variety.
The kick-ass.
I love Brave New Radio.
The sensational.
I've never heard anything like it.
This is the one and only Brave New Radio.
Straight from the WP 88.7 FM Weather Center, here's your local forecast.
All right. Right now, we are up to 35.7 degrees. We are working our way up to a high of 57. We're going to move back to a low of 36 tonight. Expected to be sunny today. Tonight, a few passing clouds. And then tomorrow, Easter Sunday. Today is Easter Eve. Yesterday was Good Friday. Partly cloudy skies. Tomorrow, high of 56, low of 39. Partly cloudy skies early, then becoming cloudy Sunday night. 60% chance of rain. And then Monday, 90% chance of rain on Easter Monday. A steady rain in the morning. Showers continuing in the afternoon. 62 as a high, 38 as a low. On Tuesday, partly cloudy skies, high of 56, low of 31, clearing up on Tuesday night and rounding out the forecast. Generally sunny despite a few afternoon clouds, high of 59, low of 43. Few clouds on Wednesday night. Well, that is the weather brought to you right here from the WP 88.7 FM Weather Center. And again, you're listening to WP 88.7 FM. If we are in the 8 o'clock hour, my guest this morning is Omar Tyree. And Omar, your name is still out there. Trust me on that one. I said you said if they're not asking for you, but like I said, when I walk up in any store, I see an Omar Tyree book. But I know I asked you this the last time we were talking, the last time we were on the air, and you've somewhat answered it. As a matter of fact, I know what your answer is going to be, but I'm going to refresh the audience. Where do you get your storylines and your imagination and everything that comes from? And I remember the last time we talked, a lot of it you said comes from watching movies and observing people.
Well, I'm a journalist by trade now, so we were taught that everything is a story. Your mind just has to be on when you're watching and listening to things. And so I'm an introverted person. I sound like an extrovert all the time because I understand marketing. And you get me on television or radio, I don't like that airtime. So I'm going to talk my behind off. And I know a lot, so I got a lot to say. But really, I'm an introverted personality, so I always watch things. I'm always taking in information. Most of your artistic people are introverts. We're always taking in. And so while you're not paying attention to the stories that's in front of you, I'm paying attention to it all the time. And so you're like, wow, you were paying attention to that when we went to the party, we talked to this girl, and we got in trouble, and the cops arrested us. Yeah, that's a story. Now, I'm going to sit down and write it. You don't have those skills, so you can't write it. So it's not like I'm around more information than anyone else. I'm just a sponge that retains more of the information, and I know how to put it back out. So now we get into talking about music. It's the same thing with musicians. If you don't take in information, how are you going to write all the content that Drake writes, that 50 Cent used to write, that Jay-Z writes, that Tupac wrote? And so, now Tupac was definitely an extrovert. He wasn't no introvert, but he was definitely taking in information and giving it back out to people. And so that's what you have to do. That's what I do all the time as a writer. And so a lot of subjects are interesting to me. I do research on them, and then I write books about them. So that's a skill that I call translation. Okay, a lot of people are translators in different fields. I'm a translator of story. We have some people that are translators of music. They hear different sounds, and they sit down with a production board, and sit down with a keyboard, and bang it out. Some people are translators of vision and visuals, so they take pictures. You got other people that are translators of the physical body. They play sports. And we got other people that are translators of math and science. They end up, business people. They end up as scientists. Others are translators of information. They end up being teachers. I'm also a translator of information. I'm a teacher as a writer. Every time I write, I'm writing to teach you something. I'm just not writing to entertain you. I'm not into entertainment for itself. I'm always into uplifting my people. Okay? And so that's why I write that all the subjects I've written about have been specific to a certain subject. I have never written random work. And so this whole thing of, I was walking down the street and this character jumped in my head and started telling me this. You will never hear me say anything like that. And I don't write stories that way. I'm always thinking about what would be a great story to write for my community that we need to sit down and discuss right now that's going on in our community that we need to have more information on. That's how I write all of my stories. It's always a purpose behind it. It's not just random stuff with some voice in my head telling me to do X, Y, and Z that I hear other artists talking. I'm not saying that you can't do it that way. Right. That's just not how I do it.
Which is a perfect segue into your 28th novel, All Access. And I see here it says, when our real lives become the biggest act. And it starts off with a broadcast journalist gets pulled into the private and criminal world of a popular entertainer. When veteran Atlanta broadcast news anchor Judy Pierce joins a celebrity gossip website, she lands a major interview with volatile superstar Sean Blake. The embattled entertainer then invites her into a reckless and unfiltered world that changes her life and career for the worse. I'm not going to read the rest of it, but this is your 28th novel. How do you keep? How do you do 28 novels?
Well, I stopped writing novels for a minute because, again, I wanted to do movies. People weren't reading like that, and they were doing the same content over and over and over again. And I wanted to write out-the-box material. I wanted to write this series called The Traveler, where this guy travels around the world like a James Bond, and he gets in trouble everywhere he goes. Now, why would I want to write that? I want to investigate the world. I've already written all these American books. I want to write about Africa now. I want to write about Brazil. I want to write about China. I want to write about Japan. I want to write about Dubai. I want to write about Australia. I want to write about Russia. But I wanted to use the character that travels into these places so I can write about those places and take you with me. But a lot of black people immediately said, well, I don't even travel like that, Omar. Why would I want to read that book? I don't even leave New York. I don't leave New Jersey. I don't leave Philadelphia. And I'm like, well, books are supposed to take you places. You need to go there at least.
That's right.
You can't go physically. But what they do right now, Mark, is they only read stuff they relate to. So if you're in the hood, you only want to read hood books, which is ridiculous. Like, how many damn hood books are you going to read? I'm not beating the hood books down. I understand that you from the hood, you want to relate to it, but okay, after you read 5 of them, can you move on to number 6 being from something different? That's what reading is about. Like, what the heck are you doing reading?
That's right.
Books? But that's what happened. And so I was like, I'm almost 50 years old. I'm not going to write a whole bunch of hood books. I've been there and done that already. We already, dealt with that subject. And so with my books, it's always about something new, and that's where All Access came into play. Last night, I was just, online. I'm always looking at YouTube and stuff now because I'm getting into music. You understand how visual it is. You have to have a video so people can see the music and go online to Vivo or World Star Hip Hop or YouTube and see the visuals that are connected to your music. And so I'm on there last night, and I went on this site where they were talking about rich kids and their Instagram pages. And so I went on there and started looking at it, and they got rich kids that just take pictures of all their wealth and all the things they do and put it on Instagram. Now, mother of one of the rich kids, a little white girl that has, homes in Monaco and London and New York, rich little girl, mom was like, she don't know these kids. She's putting all the information out there. And that was the main thing I'm looking at. Like, Dad, now you got people that call themselves friends or followers. You don't know these people. How you know 125,000 people from a phone? But you putting all your business on there. And so this new book, All Access, is exactly what it is. We are giving up access to our private, intimate, personal lives to people that don't really know us.
That's
and
true.
They can do whatever they want to do with that information. So I wrote a whole book about that, a girl or woman, rather, getting involved in that thing and it going haywire. Because that's what we're doing now. We're trying to be more popular. We get on reality shows and we put all our personal stuff out there, which, I got sucked into that world, too, for a bit. And I had to jump out of it and say, hey, let me be more private about my life,
Right.
And that's where the new book was written, because that's where we are now, where we're giving up all kind of personal stuff to be more popular or hot in the new culture of, social media. And so that's why I wrote that book.
That's an interesting point, because you're right. I mean, most people, you really do, like you say, you can have 20,000 followers or 10,000 or 1,500 or whatever.
Don't know those people.
But you feel like you do, just because the fact that their faces and their prototypes or whatever they call them pop up, you feel like you do. And you're right. Folks post anything.
Yeah. Yep. And the ones that post the craziest stuff end up with the most followers.
Right. That's
if you
absolutely right.
Stuff, they're like, oh, you boring. He just posting regular pictures and stuff, doing homework and, going to school. I don't want to watch that. They want to see your raunchy stuff. They want to see your dirty laundry. They want to see they want that other stuff. Same thing with radio stuff. I listen to a lot of these hip-hop radio interviews. Every time I even read the interview, if you had like a 20-minute interview, they'll say something ridiculous like, Mark talks about coming out the closet wearing women's clothes. Let me tell you something, and I've watched these videos now. I will listen to this video for 18 minutes. You say something about that for a minute, or not even a minute, 30 seconds, but the headline is Mark talks about, and I'm like, dude, they use that headline. He only talked about that for 30 seconds in a 22-minute interview. It's ridiculous. And so they do that all the time, and I'm going to stuff like, okay, so they get you in with this glamorous stuff, but then the whole interview was about something else, and they're doing this more and more and more, even with the daggone news. It's ridiculous.
Right.
It's everything. Everybody's into sensationalism. And so that's what the All Access book is about, where this woman gets into another guy's sensationalism because he's trying to be more popular, but she didn't want to be part of that. She got a family. She got a husband. She got kids in school. She don't want to be part of that whole popular game of, but once you get in it, now you got to fight and defend yourself. It's ridiculous. But that's what it's a great book. It's a movie book. And again, I'm thinking visually, I'm thinking internationally. And so that's another international topic with another hot movie idea. It's All Access. You read it from the first page to the last page. It's all movie. It's all visual. It's a great book.
I know that's right. Well, I tell you what, I'm looking at the cover, and you got my two favorite colors together, black and gold, on there.
Yeah, that's it.
That's
and
what
it's a two-part cover, back and front, because I was thinking about being from the north and being a hustler again. You get a lot of traffic on buses and trains, so you would look at the front of the cover and the back, so I could get the left side and the right side if anybody's reading that book on a bus or a train.
See, so your mind works that way. That's right.
Oh, yeah.
So All Access is up and out and available now. It's in the Kindle or the electronic version and the regular hard copy, soft copy version. It's already released, or is it to be released?
Yeah, it's already out, but you can't get electronic copies. I wanted people to go back to the bookstores. The bookstores are dying because people are doing all the e-book stuff. And I wanted people to go back to I did a 26-city tour with all these bookstores, and the bookstores are telling me right now, Omar, we don't even have people coming in our stores, let alone try to sell books.
Wow.
And so I forced the physical book to make sure we can get people going back into the stores and buying books the old traditional way. And so I don't have that e-book available yet. Of course, I'm going to put it out sooner or later, but I want to sell these physical books first. So you can order them from Amazon and get a physical book, order them from Barnes & Noble, or go to your local black or chain bookstore and make them order a physical copy. Because, the stores are dying because of that. And these are people who need support. These are entrepreneurs. These are stores in your community. And so, yeah, all that online stuff is just a computer system of big conglomeration sucking up all the money. So people need to think about that. When they I can just give it on the ebook. You're shutting down a black business that used to sell books when you do that. So I'm trying to educate people again on, look, go buy a physical book.
I know that's right.
If you want to buy an ebook with it, great, but buy a physical book because that's the store that you're buying from where it has real people who work there with property that have something for you that we have to think about.
I know that's right. And we're going to transition now into, because we've been alluding to and we've been working our way up to the music piece, and I actually have the music. I'm going to go ahead and play it, and then we'll talk a little bit about what brought that on and the message, so forth and so on. So I'm going to put that on. I'm going to put the track on now, and then we'll talk a little bit about it.
It's funny how we reached year 2016, and we still dealing with the same things in this country that we've been dealing with for 400 years. America, land of the free, home of the brave. But ain't nothing free in capitalism, and you still ain't brave enough to deal with the issues of race and class and religion. The religion of ignorance, that is, where the goal was not to know on purpose. So you don't have to deal with the real deal of consistent inequality and brutality as the American way. The modus operandi activities, where the matrix will actually pay you for producing positive ratings from your negative, stereotypical, and dysfunctional behaviors that continue an old addiction called news, where we give the world an all-access pass to our personal and private lives, and then market it profusely, creating a recognizable brand for the world to see.
Where are we now? Where are we now? Where are we? Where are we now? Where are we now? Where are we? Where are we now? Where are we now?
America, land of the football, basketball, and rap stars, and a million boys in the hood who strive to follow y'all. So we all learn to run, catch, pass, and shoot balls while reading nothing but fantasy point projections and stats. 140 characters on Twitter, a short caption with hashtags on Instagram, while communicating on Facebook and other technological gadgets from companies that still struggle to hire y'all, citing your lack of higher education or literacy in anything, while you proudly stroll across campus with your pants sagging, causing you to pull them up 18,000 times a day. Maybe you should spend that much time and effort on an actual skill instead of allowing yourself to become unemployed.
Where are we now? Where are we? Where are we now? Where are we now? Where are we? Where are we now? Where are we now?
America, the sweet land of opportunity, where you have the right to express yourself and to dream of becoming anything, including the president and the first lady. But too many of us still dream of being strictly on camera, in videos, or on reality shows, as if creating a make-believe or voluntarily exposing your own dirty laundry is the highest goal of achievement in life. Inspiring intellectual translators to write best-selling novels about fly girls who lose their way in the hood and wander into the coldest winter ever, finding themselves now addicted to chaos, relating only to the street life, as if it's the only life they know, with darkness and ratchet and baby daddies who abstain from being husbands or fathers.
Where are we now? Where are we now? Where are we? Where are we now? Where are we now? Where are we? Where are we now? Where are we now?
America, home of the confused and conflicted, where immigrants break through the pearly gates every year to get their minds twisted, playing a game of lottery to become another member of the 1% who already own everything, as if that's something different from where they already come from. But then they arrive and survive to do better than us American Negroes, who strive to rise much higher than the waist and will no longer accept the $5 or $6 of minimum wage, but can't receive a startup business loan from the banks with bad credit, outstanding bills, and old taxes that still have yet to be paid, while we hold on and hope for reparations that America still refuses to pay us like they pay other people, while we still fight to keep our heads above water, treading, and still can't swim.
Where are we now? Where are we now? Where are we? Where are we now? Where are we now? Where are we? Where are we now? Where are we now? Where are we? Where are we now? Where are we
All right. The title of that is Where Are We Now? All right. So I see you're expanding your base. Talk a little bit about how did you come up with Where Are We Now?
Well, I always did poetry, and I did spoken word poetry in the 1990s. In fact, Jill Scott was a part of our poetry crew in Philadelphia. I also had crews in D.C. and in Baltimore, and sometimes I would go up to New York to the Norwegian Cafe. I've been there a couple of times. And so I was always doing poetry, but, you know, we were told that you can't really sell poetry, you know, unless you become a musician.
Right.
But by the time, you know, I was in the mid-'90s, I had already gotten that contract with Simon & Schuster, so I didn't have to go into music. I was making my money through books, you know, so I was always listening to music, always had music. I could always write music, always did the spoken word thing, but it was just hard to sell spoken word albums because they're not really going to play that on air. You know, they're going to play rap or R&B or gospel or whatever. They don't really play spoken word. Now, with this one song, I wanted to do a college tour in February, which is Black History Month. And so I put that song together in December, and I was hoping to have a Where Are We Now college tour where we talk about all the things that I talk about in that song, okay, including the book All Access. But what happened, Mark, Black History Month is not what it used to be. And
That's right.
I think the president has something to do with that. With the president being in office and the first lady, I think a lot of people look at Black History Month and say, why do you need it now? You guys have arrived now. You don't need a month separated to yourself. And so what happened now, instead of me getting all the speaking events that I used to get in February, I ended up with zero. None of the colleges had a budget. None of the kids were thinking about bringing it to the school. All the administration was lackadaisical. And I said, wow, this is crazy. And so that song was supposed to be all over the place for Black History Month so we can talk about it on at least 20 different college campuses, but that didn't happen. They're not really interested in Black History Month anymore. I didn't get invited to any schools, not one school. That has never happened in my whole writing career. I would always have some February events. And so when that happened, you know, I had friends that were sending me more tracks. And so I had other songs that were like, yo, but I can't just write them as you know, spoken word because the radio station were already telling me, Omar, you know, we can't play this. This is great, but you can get it online and, you know, college shows or whatever. We can't. And so I had to do lyrics, you know. So now I got to come out as an old school artist that's doing rap songs. And, of course, when you do that, you got the young guys, you know, looking at an old guy coming out. And I'm like, well, you know, we created this music. I'm from the first generation.
That's right.
But we can't use it because now the young people are like, oh, this is young. So you can't, it's almost like sports where you can't play because you're too old. But I'm like, wait a minute now. Rap music is a mental game. It's a word game. You see what I'm talking about? So I'm like, wait a minute now. So now when we get all the knowledge and experience of being older people, we'll have more to talk about. Now we can't put nothing out. And so I'm like, you know what? I got to do it anyway because, again, like I said earlier, when I was writing books, I was a young guy doing it. Now I have to be an old guy putting out music because, again, if nobody knows who you are, then it's very hard to get your message out. And I don't care how much internet stuff, social media, they still have to search for you. And so all the people that are listening this morning, including the guys, if they search for me, then they can end up at my website, hear what I'm doing, see what I'm doing, and then know who I am. So now I have an ability to sell them something or put something to them. But if they don't know who you are, it ain't going to happen. And so that's why I have to jump back into music because if these folks don't know who I am, I would have to wait for that movie to do all the work.
Right.
And I don't know when that thing is going to come out. I'm just waiting and waiting and waiting. So I have to find a way again to bully myself into the consciousness of the young people in America because I surely didn't have a Black History Month this year. They are not concerned about where we are now. They may be, but I wasn't able to get that song to them or get that message to them. And so that just made it that more pressing for me to figure out how do I get in those headphones? How do I get in those cell phones? And I have a video. You can go to YouTube for Where Are We Now in a video by Omar Tyree where you can see that too. And that's just the first video of more to come.
I know that's right. Well, I tell you what, we're going to play the second track. I think the second one is Dollar Beats. Is that the name of it?
Hot Beats for $1.
Hot Beats for $1. That's it. All right, so we're going to play that one now. Hot Beats for $1.
Money out here in America these days. So I gotta respect any man or woman trying to get it legally. And since I'm a hustler myself, I know how it is out here. I met a kid selling hot beats for $1. I met a kid selling hot beats for $1. I met a kid selling hot beats for $1. He tryna get it like I'm tryna get it. Real talk, I met Shorty way after dark. Up all night with another bug to write. And couldn't sleep for Pete while thinking about more money I need to make and money I need to keep. When dude started posting his beats on Instagram, I think about 4 a.m. So I stopped for a minute to listen to a few and said, man, dude sound like he got the Midas touch. I looked at the prices he listed and said, what? Dude selling beats for $1? What the? I guess I must have been in luck. So I hit Shorty up like, yo, you selling beats for $1 and you really think that's enough? Cause I could blaze a hit right now for both of us and have it in the flow next week. Cause I'm out to get it while these other straight cats out here would play with it. Yeah, I met a kid selling hot beats for $1. I met a kid selling hot beats for $1. I met a kid selling hot beats for $1. He tryna get it like I'm tryna get it, like you tryna get it, like we tryna get this money. Get this money, gotta get this money. Gotta get this money, get this money. Here I go again with this music, trying to make jams. Got my family nervous like, Dad, don't do it, man. You're too old, it'll never work for you. I ain't got a choice, gotta make this beat work for you. I ain't got a job and I ain't going back to work for you. I'm a hustler, so my brain's gotta work for you. To get this paper, that's what a daddy's supposed to do. I'm up all night to set my game plan for you. And your brother too, and your mother too. I love my whole crew, so a daddy gotta do what a daddy gotta do to make it through and get this cash money, son. And some may think it's funny, but I ain't even laughing, cause it ain't a joke. And I'm not delirious, my hustle was dead serious. Little me, before you was thought of, I was out in these streets chasing clean currency. Yeah, I met a kid selling hot beats for $1. I met a kid selling hot beats for $1. I met a kid selling hot beats for $1. He tryna get it like I'm tryna get it, like you tryna get it, like we tryna get this money. Get this money, gotta get this money. Gotta get this money, get this money. Verse 3, I'm still trying to get it, G. Before your eyes, watch this hustler's drive. I called my boy at home from my Philly crew and told Manny Rise all that I'm going through. And Manny was like, yo, Twine, man, just do you. These cats out here don't really know you like we do. My man Mike Buck was like, Twine, man, what's up? I know you getting money down south, that's no doubt. But you need to come home to Philly and turn it back out. What you waiting for, fam? The next blackout. So I took my game plan home and bet the whole house on the 7 and the 11, trying to make my way back into heaven and add it to my legend with my mural in West Philly at Market and 52nd Street. And all I gotta do is blaze and market the heat and make sure I stay on beat. Yeah, I met a kid selling hot beats for $1. I met a kid selling hot beats for $1. I met a kid selling hot beats for $1. He tryna get it like I'm tryna get it, like you tryna get it, like we tryna get this money. Get this money, gotta get this money. Gotta get this money, get this money. Yeah, all this money out here in the music game, and you gonna tell me I'm too old to get some of it? You crazy. Watch me get this paper. Ain't nobody playing out here. Yeah.
All right, that's Hot Beats for $1. Now is that you actually doing the lyrics? That's your voice?
It is crazy. It's people ask me that all the time. Like, you just heard me do the spoken word joint. Now the rap joint is supposed to be different. Like, yeah.
That's all right.
Now here's the other thing that's going on. That song, I love that song because that's what I call the foundation record. That's what I'm doing. I'm getting in this thing, not just to make money, but as an old dude to establish my name and what I'm doing. So with that one, I allowed the music to do the work. It's a hot beat, and that's what I'm doing. I'm collecting hot beats. So with the flow on that one, I just went straight at it. I'm just telling you what it is. A lot of kids that's used to the gymnastic flows right now, where they're slurring music up, slurring stuff up, they hear that and they think, well, he's off beat, he doesn't sound right. I'm on beat like a champ, but it's an old style of flow where all I'm doing is telling you a story. I'm not trying to do gymnastics on the beat for this beat. Now, I got other beats that are coming where I'm going to do some gymnastics, but on this one, I just want to tell you what's going on. And so it's crazy how some people, they listen to music, now their ears deceive them because they expect to hear something. And so when I give them something different, now I'm off beat, I don't know how to rap. I'm like, yo, we're going to see about that. I think Lil Wayne said that on that daggone Carter 2 hour. Yo, you got all these people from the north thinking I can't rap because I'm from the south or whatever. Yo, I got flows for that. Let me show you. And he showed everybody. So with this thing here, I love that record because you got to listen to what I'm saying. I'm getting in the game because I'm looking at it and saying I got to. You know what I mean? So it's the concept of what I'm doing. But the other joints that are coming are all different songs. And that's what kids are not getting a chance to do now because they're putting out mainly singles. Right. They sound the same. On every record, they sound the same. It's the same flow. And so what you're going to hear me do, you're going to hear this flow change with the song. Right. The flow is slow and deliberate on this song because I'm just delivering a message over a hot beat. And that's all the song is about. I'm collecting hot beats that's going to blow your brains away when y'all get the whole album. But I'm also putting conscious thoughts and content on the album, which a lot of kids aren't getting now with that rap music stuff.
I know that's right. Now, see, the thing that I'm sitting here with a big smile on my face about is because I consider you like a Renaissance man. I love Renaissance people. And what I mean by that is they don't get pigeonholed into doing one thing. A lot of people think, for those that one thing over their entire life or career works for them, there's nothing wrong with that. But then there are those of us who do more than one thing. And since I'm the type of person who do more than one thing, I generally tend to gravitate toward people who do more than one thing. So to see, like in your bio, all the author, journalist, lecturer, educator, poet, musician, to see that, I mean, it's like, wow. It's like, again, hopefully it's an inspiration to somebody. Because even again, I'm looking at your webpage and it says 2.5 million books sold worldwide. What is it like to know that you have 2.5 million of something out there in the world?
Let me tell you, that's old numbers. Now I get a lot of people that say, I used to read your work. It's past tense. That drives me crazy because I'm sitting in front of them. I'm telling you, Mark, I'm sitting in front of them with a new book and they're like bragging. I used to love your book. And they won't buy the new book. So I'm like, as much as you think 2.5, that's great if it's past tense, but you're not going to buy what I'm selling now. It's not helping me now. Right. And so I'm like, okay, I understand. And they actually get mad at you. If they feel any, anxiety that I have toward them not buying a new book, they're looking at me like, didn't I just tell you I bought 5 or 6 of your books? Why you? I'm serious. And so I'm sitting there like, I'm terrified to tell them, like, can you buy this new book? And they're looking at me like, I already supported you. But I'm like, it's great, but I have something new now. And so it's driving me nuts right now. Right. They're sitting there writing, I used to love that, bragging about it. But I'm like, dude, you're not loving me now. Right. You know what I'm saying? It's like, buy a book now,
I know that's right. Well, I tell you one thing, everything like in this industry or area, it really dovetails or clicks with each other because the music that you're just doing, I could easily see that being a part of a soundtrack of one of your books becoming a movie. So clearly you have the capability of doing the soundtracks behind your book that becomes a movie because it's all connected.
Definitely. And we're going to push our way into that because, of course, they don't expect you to do anything like that. But before it's all over with, I'm going to have the book, the movie, and the music. You know what I mean? So before it's over with, in the next 5 years, that's going to happen with one of my books. And once I start doing it, I have all of them. So that's what you're going to see.
I know that's because, see, if you think back, because if you look at anything on Steve Jobs, whenever he was doing the whole thing, starting out, that was kind of like his vision was to take over different industries. And that's what I'm saying. So whenever you start talking, look, I'm going to have the music, I'm going to have the movie, I'm going to have the books. That's when you talk about getting out there and getting known, that's how you do it.
Yeah, but it takes a lot of work. You got to be a bully. That's so my personality, Steve Jobs was another bully. You know, because
right.
what happens is people, they don't want to do it, they don't believe in it, they're passive about it, so you have to push them into it. You know, otherwise it's not going to happen.
Now, from the educational standpoint, I know you go in and out of school. Do you go to elementary schools as well? And in terms of, because see,
I go to all, but you can't go to. You know, I still got a job to do as a writer. So
exactly.
I can't go to all of them, so it's hard, and then they have to invite you in and all that. But yeah,
right.
I go to as many as I can, definitely.
Because I'm thinking from the standpoint of being a role model, and I always share with various authors. I remember when my show first started, I was on a crazy hour on Friday and Saturday nights from midnight till 1. And then I moved on Friday mornings from 6 to 7:30. And at that time I was teaching. And if I had a guest who was live here in the studio, I would ask them, you know, what are you doing when we're done with the interview? And they said, I'm just going to have breakfast. I'm going to this. I said, do me a favor. Come with me to my school with me and let the kids meet you. And Omar, the kids would freak out to see the actual author standing there with the book with their picture on the back of it. So I can only imagine, right, I can only imagine when you step into a school or to a classroom, and it's so important from the standpoint, especially if you go to an African-American school or a predominantly African-American school with the boys, to see that. Right. Because all they're accustomed to is football players and basketball players.
All the time. The Urban Literacy Project, you can't help me. You know, the Urban Literacy Project, I've done that several times. But I'm going to tell you what, how many more minutes we have? Because I can call you right back. I got to go ahead and jump in the car to head to my son's track meet.
Oh, yeah, we did talk about that last night. Well, I tell you, we have about 20 more minutes on the air, so we can either you can call me back for sure, and while you're doing that, I'll put your track back on again and let the listening audience hear it again.
All right, that's how we do that. And all right. I can go ahead and jump in the car, and then I'll call you right back.
Okay, that'll work.
Thank you.
Yep.
Bye.
All right.
We reached year 2016, and we still dealing with the same things in this country that we've been dealing with for 400 years. America, land of the free, home of the brave. But ain't nothing free in capitalism, and you still ain't brave enough to deal with the issues of race and class and religion. The religion of ignorance, that is, where the goal was not to know on purpose. So you don't have to deal with the real deal of consistent inequality and brutality as the American way. The modus operandi.
This is Omar Tyree's Where Are We Now?
Producing positive ratings from your negative, stereotypical, and dysfunctional behaviors that continue an old addiction called news, where we give the world an all-access pass to our personal and private lives and then market it profusely, creating a recognizable brand for the world to see.
Where are we now? Where are we now? Where are we now? Where are we now? Where are we? Where are we now? Where are we now?
America, land of the football, basketball, and rap stars, and a million boys in the hood who strive to follow y'all. So we all learn to run, catch, pass, and shoot balls while reading nothing but fantasy point projections and stats. 140 characters on Twitter, a short caption with hashtags on Instagram, while communicating on Facebook and other technological gadgets from companies that still struggle to hire y'all, citing your lack of higher education or literacy in anything, while you proudly stroll across campus with your pants sagging, causing you to pull them up 18,000 times a day. Maybe you should spend that much time and effort on an actual skill instead of allowing yourself to become unemployed.
Where are we now? Where are we now? Where are we now? Where are we? Where are we now? Where are we now?
America, the sweet land of opportunity, where you have the right to express yourself and to dream of becoming anything, including the president and the first lady. But too many of us still dream of being strictly on camera, in videos, or on reality shows, as if creating a make-believe or voluntarily exposing your own dirty laundry is the highest goal of achievement in life. Inspiring intellectual translators to write best-selling novels about fly girls who lose their way in the hood and wander into the coldest winter ever, finding themselves now addicted to chaos, relating only to the street life, as if it's the only life they know, with darkness and ratchet baby daddies who abstain from being husbands or fathers.
Where are we now? Where are we now? Where are we? Where are we now? Where are we now? Where are we? Where are we now? Where are we now?
America, home of the confused and conflicted, where immigrants break through the pearly gates every year to get their minds twisted, playing a game of lottery to become another member of the 1% who already own everything, as if that's something different from where they already come from. But then they arrive and survive to do better than us American Negroes, who strive to rise much higher than the waist, and will no longer accept the $5 or $6 of minimum wage, but can't receive a startup business loan from the banks with bad credit, outstanding bills, and old taxes that still have yet to be paid, while we hold on and hope for reparations that America still refuses to pay us like they pay other people, while we still fight to keep our heads above water, treading, and still can't swim.
Where are we now? Where are we now? Where are we? Where are we now? Where are we now? Where are we? Where are we now? Where are we now? Where are we? Where are we now? Where are we now?
Let's talk about it. It's hard getting money out here in America these days.
You're listening to an extended version of the Reading Circle. For those of you who are looking on, Omar?
Yep, you got me.
We got your back. All right. I was just checking. For those of you who are looking on Facebook, hopefully you tuned in on your computer as well to gobrave.org. I've been speaking with Omar Tyree, and he is still with me. As a matter of fact, he is on his way to taking his son to which kind of match you going to?
This is track meet.
Track meet. There you go.
Big invitational.
So, in terms of, we were talking about right before you went out to the car, being of the role model. How do you get, because I'm listening to the words to the song. Again, that's the next question I was going to ask, is because there's some powerful messages in here. I listened to all the words. I mean, I've listened to it a few times last night, and I'm listening to it again this morning. But you're really saying something in these songs. It's not just a matter of talking to a beat. You're really trying to get a message across there.
That's how. If anything has my name on it, always think content, dude. I don't know how to put it out without saying so. That's just the way my personality is. That every time I speak, again, I'm an introvert. So I don't really have, like, conversations about the weather. When you're talking to me, it's all informational. If you're not talking informational, I'd really just watch TV or do something else. You know what I mean? So I'm not like the fair weather talker, just, hey, how's the day? I'm not that target. So anytime I give you anything, it's going to have some content in it. That's just the way I'm built.
Do you have the opportunity to use, say, for example, Where Are You Now, or either Hot Beats for $1 whenever you're talking to our teenagers?
Well, right now, those are brand new. The Where Are We Now, I was pushing it and promoting it in December and January because I wanted a big February. Well, when February didn't happen, I kind of moved away from that and started working on other songs that I know will get airtime. Now, Hot Beats for $1 is not a song that's going to get a lot of airtime either, but it introduces, okay, I'm going into regular, music, but it's an introduction. Now, the next record I come out with is a song called Possessive. Now, that's to go all the way in. That's all the way in. In fact, we got the producer, John Lil Beats, out of the Chester, Pennsylvania area. He claims Philadelphia, but he's really from Chester. He's going to be on that one, and that one's going to go full live with a whole dance-off video with the high schoolers and all of that. So we want to go viral with that one. And then that opens up the door. I got a record right now on the bench for Jill Scott. And she hasn't said yes yet, but she hasn't said no yet. So we're trying to get that record, and then that would follow the Possessive record. So I'm setting it up like a chess game here, one step at a time.
Right.
And so, you have to get those gates down. So you have to strategically go about it and say, okay, if this can open up the door a little bit, I'm going to hit him with the next song that opens up, and then I hit him with the and I got a truckload of hot material with hot beats. And so that's why I'm pushing that song first, because I still have ears for this, and they're going to find that out real quick.
So at some point, this is going to be an entire CD or entire album, or I guess whatever. We download everything now. So it'll be an entire, I don't even know what we call them anymore. It used to be called albums, but I guess it's going to be an entire album at some point.
19 songs.
19 songs. All right now.
19 songs of heavyweight material from start to finish. And the last song on the album is called My Last Words. And I'm telling you, it's prophetic. That daggone song is absolutely stunning. You know what I mean? And then I go back to the poetry with that joint where it's like I do. In fact, I'm using like a synergy of all three forms: old school hip hop, new school sing-song stuff that everybody's copying off the Drake thing, and then spoken word. So it has a synergy of all three, but it's executed, to perfection. So yeah, 19 songs, and not only that, I got 3 albums in my head waiting for the, for the follow-up. So it's not, and you gotta understand, I'm a book writer, so I don't think in one chapter. I don't think in one chapter like one song. I'm thinking album. I'm thinking second album. I'm thinking third album. I don't think in small pieces like, a single EP. I don't even think that way. I'm thinking the full thing because I've written books for the last 20 years. So I'm thinking about 20, 25 chapters, 20. And so doing an album of 19, that's easy for me. I had to take songs off of this thing and put on a second album. And so I got beats right now. I got beats for album 2 and 3 and some other side albums, and then stuff I want to do for other people, because that's the other thing. I want to produce music for other people. But I've been telling folks who ask me about that, they won't let me do it unless I can put out hits myself.
Right.
I always question, like, you're not in the music industry. What do you know about music? I'm not going to test my album with you putting, and they will not do it. I've been trying to do that for years. So I have to come out with stuff that works first. Then they'll come to me. Then I'm in control of it, so that's the only way it's going to work.
I know that's right. Well, I tell you, one question I did want to ask you, and it slipped my mind as I was going through, so I'm kind of backtracking a bit, and that was writing the book with Marion Barry. I talked to Marion about, let me see, I think maybe 3 weeks to a month before he passed away. We were right in the go, because he was going to be a guest on the show about the book.
Wow.
And it was like maybe 3 weeks, because I talked to his administrative assistant or his chief of staff. I forget the young lady's name. And we were...
Latoya Foster.
Yes, that's her. Latoya Foster. That's her. I spoke to Latoya. We were right in the throes of setting the interview up when he passed away. What was that like working with him?
That was the hardest book I ever had to work on in my life. Because, he was physically ailing, and he couldn't do interviews over the phone. I had to be with him. So I had to drive up to D.C. every week and wait hours to get 1 hour with him, because he was still working for the government. So I was basically sitting in the office for 3 hours to get 1 hour, and then sometimes he would say, Omar, I'm feeling kind of sick today. We'll come back tomorrow. I'm like, are you kidding me? And I had to do that for 11 months.
Wow.
It was the hardest. I'm talking about, man, 3 and 4 different times I wanted to quit. You know what I mean? So that was the hardest book ever. But once we got it finished, he was very grateful, and he knew that I had done the job of man and building that thing, and sitting up with the different personality clashes and all that stuff to get that thing done, man. And, I think him doing so many interviews and so many book signings and stuff after it came out, I actually think that made his health worse, because last time I saw him, he was pushing him around in a wheelchair.
Okay.
Because he was doing too much, and it was like his body didn't have time to recuperate. I said that a couple of days ago in the interview. I think that process, because he was calling me up saying, Omar, what can I do about? And I was trying to set up book signings with him.
Right.
He had too many. It was too many people surrounding him. He had his family and his staff, and so I thought, again, when I talk about me being a bully, I couldn't bully myself in that circle. So it was like I couldn't even help him the way I wanted to, because he had too many people surrounding him.
Right. Well, I tell you what, my friend, we have come down to the end of our interview, but as I said, I literally talked to Mayor Barry. It was about 3, because we had a nice little chat. He said, "Oh yeah, I'll be glad to do the interview." He told me, and then he, like you said, he told me Latoya Falls. He told me Latoya's name and number. Got in contact with her, and before we could get the date settled and scheduled, the next thing I read was he had passed away, and I was like, "Oh my God!" But I actually got a chance to talk to him, and it was very nice. One of my fraternity brothers, very nice. And I was looking forward to actually interview him. And when I saw that you had co-wrote it with him, I said, "Okay, Omar's been on the show before. Good, all right." So I know both of the gentlemen. So I tell you what,
it was great to be able to do that with him. And again, that showed another part of my skills.
Yes,
I could have been writing nonfiction books for a long time, but a lot of times they didn't map out. You would have to be ready to do that book.
Right.
You have to have a publisher ready, and he had both things. You know, so that's how we were able to put that together. The publisher was already behind it, where he didn't have to pay me, the publisher paid me, so we can get that thing done.
So how do folks who want to get in contact with you for any of your endeavors, how would they go about doing it? I know your webpage is very easy, folks. It's omartyree.com. Just about everything you want is there. Very easy. It's his name. OMARTYREE.com. But any other ways or anything else you'd like to let folks know? You could say anything, as I always tell the authors, other than the dollar amount. But the mic is yours to promote.
You know what? You just called it out. I mean, let's keep it there because if you go to my website. I mean, why?
That's true.
If you go to my website, I have everything there. Even have my other contact information at the website. So why give them anything else?
Well, this is true.
Smartphones that they don't use. So make them use the phone.
I can't argue you there. Well, I tell you what, I saw on there, I said, I can't argue you there because the one site has everything. It even has the address and everything on this. I'm going to mail you a copy of my jazz CD because that's what I use for the background for the show. I'll mail you a copy of that. And I'm also going to go on Amazon and order All Access because I'm intrigued just by the cover. Just the fact, I mean, I don't even see any faces on there. It's just two bodies.
Well, we did that in the 90s because when I started doing photography for my covers, people would actually ask, is this book about this person?
Right.
And so it got distracting, and so then we started cutting the faces out from that point on.
So I'm done. Like I said, you got my two. You got the young lady in the black dress and the young man in the black suit with the gold lettering. That's my two favorite colors together, and it book sounds like it's intriguing. And so I'm going to order my copy. Awesome. It sounds like it is because actually I started reading The Traveler. I had your Traveler series. I was getting that. I had downloaded that, and I was reading that whole thing when the mother, I think the car accident and gets killed and so forth and so on.
That's the start off. I wanted to introduce the character because when you have superheroes and stuff like that, they have a backstory.
Right.
So I introduced the backstory, and you can get that online. You can get about 7 or 8 of my. In fact, I think about 10 of my books you can get as ebooks online.
Right.
You do have others, but the All Access, the new one, I wanted to force people to think about bookstores again.
All right. Well, that's about it for us. I have about 6 minutes before I turn the mic over to the next DJ coming up, Barry, the Naked Brunch. But Omar, I thank you so much for taking time because you're worldwide, world-renowned. You've been on all different types of media. So I thank you for taking the time again to share time with me on the Reading Circle. And I wish the best to you and your son at the track meet and to you and yours and your family. And, continue, as my mom can say, keep on keeping on.
All right, thank you, good brother. And keep playing them songs for the crowd over there. Play them anyway.
Oh, I will. Matter of fact, I'm going to leave a copy of the CD here at the studio for the next DJs that they actually have a copy that they can play. But I will keep it. I will make another copy for myself as well.
That's how it works, brother.
I know that's right.
Yeah.
Have a great day and a great Easter.
Thank you. Have a great Easter as well.
Thank you. Take care now.
Bye.
Bye now.
It's funny how we've reached year 2016 and we still dealing with the same things in this country that we've been dealing with for 400 years. America, land of the free, home of the brave. But ain't nothing free in capitalism, and you still ain't brave enough to deal with the issues of race and class and religion. The religion of ignorance, that is, where the goal was not to know on purpose. So you don't have to deal with the real deal of consistent inequality and brutality as the American way. The modus operandi activities, where the matrix will actually pay you for producing positive ratings from your negative, stereotypical, and dysfunctional behaviors that continue an old addiction called news, where we give the world an all-access pass to our personal and private lives and then market it profusely, creating a recognizable brand for the world to see.
Where are we now? Where are we now? Where are we? Where are we now? Where are we now? Where are we? Where are we now? Where are we now?
America, land of the football, basketball, and rap stars, and a million boys in the hood who strive to follow y'all. So we all learn to run, catch, pass, and shoot balls while reading nothing but fantasy point projections and stats. 140 characters on Twitter, a short caption with hashtags on Instagram, while communicating on Facebook and other technological gadgets from companies that still struggle to hire y'all, citing your lack of higher education or literacy in anything, while you proudly stroll across campus with your pants sagging, causing you to pull them up 18,000 times a day. Maybe you should spend that much time and effort on an actual skill instead of allowing yourself to become unemployed.
Where are we now? Where are we? Where are we now? Where are we now? Where are we? Where are we now? Where are we now?
America, the sweet land of opportunity, where you have the right to express yourself and to dream of becoming anything, including the president and the first lady. But too many of us still dream of being strictly on camera, in videos, or on reality shows, as if creating a make-believe or voluntarily exposing your own dirty laundry is the highest goal of achievement in life. Inspiring intellectual translators to write best-selling novels about fly girls who lose their way in the hood and wander into the coldest winter ever, finding themselves now addicted to chaos, relating only to the street life, as if it's the only life they know, with darkness and ratchet and baby daddies who abstain from being husbands or fathers.
Where are we now? Where are we now? Where are we? Where are we now? Where are we now? Where are we? Where are we now? Where are we now?
America, home of the confused and conflicted, where immigrants break through the pearly gates every year to get their minds twisted, playing a game of lottery to become another member of the 1% who already own everything, as if that's something different from where they already come from. But then they arrive and survive to do better than us American Negroes, who strive to rise much higher than the waist and will no longer accept the $5 or $6 of minimum wage, but can't receive a startup business loan from the banks with bad credit, outstanding bills, and old taxes that still have yet to be paid, while we hold on and hope for reparations that America still refuses to pay us like they pay other people, while we still fight to keep our heads above water, treading, and still can't swim.
Where are we now? Where are we now? Where are we? Where are we now? Where are we now? Where are we? Where are we now? Where are we now? Where are we? Where are we now? Where are we now?
Let's talk about it.